They say history is written by the victors. But what if entire chapters were never written at all? Buried beneath oceans, swallowed by jungles, and hidden in plain sight lie the fragments of forgotten civilizations, mysterious artifacts, and ancient knowledge that defy explanation. How did our ancestors lift stone blocks heavier than modern cranes can handle? Why do sacred symbols appear across continents separated by oceans? And what truths were deliberately erased from the records of time? This is not just history. This is a puzzle older than time itself. A global trail of enigmas that challenges everything we think we know about the past. From the frozen pyramids of Antarctica to the vanished cities of the Amazon. From undeciphered scripts to 12,000-year-old temples. These are the mysteries that whisper of a deeper truth. A truth hidden beneath layers of sand, secrecy, and silence. This is the story of a forgotten world, and the questions no historian dares to answer. Welcome to Unleash Facts, the place where history's secrets, unsolved mysteries, and mind-blowing truths come to light. For over 4,500 years, it stood as the tallest man-made structure on Earth. A tomb, a temple, or something far more advanced, the Great Pyramid of Giza has never given up all its secrets. But in 2017, using technology never available to the ancients, scientists peered inside without touching a single stone. What they found shook the foundations of archaeology. It was called the Scan Pyramid's Big Void, a massive, previously unknown chamber hidden above the Grand Gallery. Not a small crevice or error in measurement, but a space as large as an airplane hangar. And no one can explain why it exists, or how the builders hid it so perfectly. The discovery was made using muon tomography, a scanning technique that tracks cosmic particles as they pass through stone. The results were undeniable. There is something vast and hollow inside the pyramid, something that was never meant to be found. Egypt's Ministry of Antiquities quickly downplayed it. They called it an architectural feature, a structural necessity, a coincidence. But leading physicists and engineers disagreed. The void's symmetry, its position, its scale, all suggest deliberate design. And it opens a floodgate of deeper questions. Could the chamber still hold artifacts, inscriptions, or even a sarcophagus untouched for millennia? Was it a sealed time capsule of lost knowledge? Or is it part of something older, far older than Khufu himself? Mainstream Egyptology insists the Great Pyramid was built around 2560 BCE as a tomb, yet no mummy was ever found inside. No inscriptions name the architect, no blueprint reveals its plan. Just impossibly precise stonework, aligned to true north, encoded with solar and mathematical knowledge, far beyond what the Bronze Age should have allowed. And now, this chamber, silent, sealed, and unreachable, adds a new dimension to the mystery. Some theorists believe it's the missing key, a resonating chamber for sound or energy, a symbolic stairway to the god, or even a dimensional portal. As crazy as it sounds, we must ask, how did they build this? Why was it hidden? And who exactly were they? Because the more we discover, the less we understand. Deep within the heart of the Amazon rainforest, far beyond modern maps, lies a mystery so profound it consumed the lives of those who searched for it. For centuries, explorers returned from the jungle with stories that defied belief. They spoke of ancient cities built from stone, roads that stretched for miles, and civilizations that flourished long before the rise of Europe or Rome. But in 1925, one man made it his life's obsession to prove them right. Colonel Percy Fawcett, a decorated British explorer and cartographer, vanished without a trace. After venturing deep into the Amazon basin to find what he called the lost city of Z, he believed that ancient manuscripts, tribal stories, and geoglyphs pointed to something real. A powerful, advanced civilization hidden beneath centuries of overgrowth and silence. Critics mocked him. calling the idea a jungle myth, a fantasy of madness. After all, how could a sophisticated society exist in what was thought uninhabitable? They argued that the Amazon soil was too poor to support large populations, and that the rainforest was always a wild, empty place, never a cradle of empires. But recent discoveries are rewriting everything we thought we knew about South American history. In the last 2 decades, satellite images and LiDAR technology pierced through the jungle canopy. What they revealed shocked even the most skeptical scientists and archaeologists alive today. Beneath the vines and trees lie networks of roads, canals, and massive geometric earthworks, some aligned with celestial bodies, suggesting complex astronomical knowledge and urban planning. These structures stretch across hundreds of kilometers, forming shapes no tribe could casually create. Ancient towns with plazas, moats, and sophisticated defenses are emerging from beneath the green. Evidence now shows the Amazon once supported millions of people in organized societies with sustainable agriculture, social hierarchy, and spiritual architecture long before European contact. One such discovery in Brazil's Acre State revealed 450 massive geoglyphs and enclosures. Dating back over 2,000 years, they are carved into the land with surgical precision. Yet the builders left no known written language, no tools, and no obvious descendants. Just remnants of a people who mastered their environment and then disappeared into legend. So what happened to them? Was there a collapse, invasion, or climate catastrophe? Or were they decimated by disease and colonial violence before ever being understood? If their cities once rivaled those of Mesopotamia or Egypt in size and science, why were they denied a place in the official story of human civilization? The legend of the lost city of Z was never a myth after all. It was a suppressed reality, ignored because it didn't fit the Western timeline. A reminder that great knowledge can be buried not just by earth, but also by pride, prejudice, and the selective silence of history itself. Percy Fawcett may have vanished into the jungle's emerald maze forever, but the truth he sought is finally beginning to emerge from the shadows. The Amazon is not just a wilderness, it is a crypt of forgotten greatness. And somewhere in that green abyss, the ghosts of Z are waiting to be known. There's a strange silence echoing through the pages of our global history. A silence shaped like lost cities, erased cultures, and forbidden blueprints. Among the most controversial of these forgotten legends is the tale of Tartaria, a supposed global empire that some claim was wiped from our historical memory. According to alternative researchers, Tartaria once stretched across much of Eurasia and beyond, boasting architectural wonders, advanced knowledge, and free energy systems centuries ahead of their time. Its cities were adorned with massive star forts, impossibly ornate buildings, and colossal towers, the kind that suggest engineering far too complex for the centuries they supposedly came from. These structures still exist today, scattered across Russia, Central Asia, Europe, and even America. They are often labeled as Victorian, Moorish, or neoclassical without proper investigation. But some of them predate the technology and tools required to construct them accurately. How did societies with horses and chisels carve 30-ton granite blocks with perfection? Look closer, and you'll notice many of these cities share the same strange elements: perfect axial symmetry, domes resembling Tesla coils, and bizarrely buried ground floors. Why are entire buildings partially submerged below current street levels, with windows underground? Were these cities victims of a worldwide cataclysm, like a mud flood forgotten by time? Proponents of the Tartaria theory point to 19th century world fairs as more than exhibitions. They believe these events showcased the remaining architecture of a defeated civilization, one that was erased, rebranded, and absorbed by rising empires rewriting their origin stories. Take the 1893 Chicago World's Fair, a city built in just 2 years, with massive white marble palaces, domes, columns, and fountains covering 600 acres. Engineers today struggle to believe such scale was achieved so rapidly with 1800s tools. Yet most of the buildings were later destroyed and photos suppressed for decades. Across the world, we see orphaned architecture, stunning structures without clear origins or blueprints. Who built the intricate cathedrals of Russia, the buried cities of Central Asia, or the abandoned fortresses with perfect acoustic chambers and no signs of a workforce? The official history books remain silent, labeling Tartaria a conspiracy or fringe fantasy. But why do maps from the 16th and 17th centuries list Tartaria as real? Why do those maps show it as vast, populated, and politically active? And most importantly, why would global powers want to erase an entire civilization's past? Could it be that Tartaria defied the controlled narrative of human progress entirely? That it used energy, engineering, and wisdom we're only now beginning to rediscover? Whether real or imagined, the mystery of Tartaria raises haunting questions about suppression. Who decides what parts of history are remembered and which are buried forever? And what truths might still be hidden beneath our cities, maps, and minds? In the blue depths off Japan's southern coast, the ocean hides an ancient riddle. Beneath the waters of Yonaguni Island lies a formation unlike anything ever documented before. Discovered by a local diver in 1986, it has baffled experts for decades. Massive stone blocks, flat surfaces, right angles, and terraced platforms stretch across the seafloor. They resemble sunken pyramids, stepped plazas, and what could be roads or ceremonial stairs. Some scientists claim the Yonaguni Monument is a natural formation shaped by erosion. Others argue it was clearly constructed, a remnant of an unknown civilization. The sharp edges and symmetrical design appear far too precise to be accidental. Giant stairs run alongside vertical walls, aligned so perfectly it challenges basic geology. Divers have documented archways, megalithic pillars, and what looks like a gateway or altar. Coral and ocean sediment have covered parts of the monument, hiding finer details beneath. But the deeper you dive, the more deliberate the layout seems to become. Could this be the ruins of a prehistoric city lost beneath rising sea levels? Some experts link the site to the Jomon culture, dating back 12,000 years. But mainstream archaeology places Japan's first civilizations many millennia after that period. If man built Yonaguni, it would predate the Egyptian pyramids by thousands of years. That would mean the first great architecture emerged not on land, but underwater. Strangely, Yonaguni is not alone in its mystery beneath the waves. Similar submerged structures have been found off India's coast, in the Mediterranean, and near Cuba. All of them suggest a global flood, or something like it, occurred. If sea levels rose at the end of the Ice Age, what was drowned? Could these sites be the last remnants of civilizations from a forgotten epoch? Civilizations erased by planetary cataclysm and remembered only in myth and fragmented legend? Atlantis, Mu, Lemuria, all stories of great lands swallowed by the sea's hunger. The deeper we dive into the ocean's silence, the louder the questions become. Were these places the birthplace of lost sciences, forgotten cultures, or advanced technologies? Why are researchers discouraged from serious study, and why is the site so neglected? The Japanese government has shown little interest in fully excavating or preserving the structure. Yet private dives continue, revealing carvings, tool marks, and possibly even symbols or writing. The more we uncover, the less Yonaguni looks like a natural geological fluke. It looks like history, submerged, silenced, and waiting for someone to finally listen. The waves keep washing over stone steps once walked by unknown hands. Perhaps, somewhere between myth and science, the truth of Yonaguni patiently survives. Hidden inside the dusty caves of Qumran, a scroll was found unlike any other. Not made of parchment or papyrus, but hammered entirely into sheets of pure copper. While other Dead Sea Scrolls spoke of prayers, laws, or biblical tales in ink, this one whispered something far more material, a list of buried treasures and locations. The Copper Scroll, discovered in 1952, lists over 60 secret hiding spots. Each allegedly holds vast quantities of gold, silver, and sacred ceremonial objects. But unlike most ancient texts, this one reads more like a coded treasure map. It describes precise places, under stairs, behind walls, beneath cisterns, inside courtyards of ruin. The problem? No one knows where these places actually are on any modern map. The names and landmarks have long vanished, buried by time and lost to war. Archaeologists, cryptographers, and treasure hunters have studied the scroll for decades without success. The treasures remain untouched, if they ever existed at all. Some believe the scroll was written by the Essenes, a Jewish sect of mystics. Others argue it was composed by temple priests hiding riches during the Roman invasions. If true, the treasure could belong to the Second Temple, lost in 70 CE. That would make it one of the greatest religious treasures in human history. Unlike mythic tales of gold, this document provides specific weights and measurements. It even describes the use of ceramic vessels, stone markers, and burial depths in cubits. It is not poetic, it is precise. And that precision makes it even stranger. Because if it's a hoax, why go to such impossible lengths of detail? Some theorists suggest the scroll hides something deeper than just material wealth. Perhaps it conceals artifacts, relics, or knowledge deemed too powerful for common hands. Others propose the locations were part of a ritual map, a sacred geometry. The treasures may not be gold, but symbols, codes, or ancient sources of energy. The scroll itself had to be cut apart by a saw just to read. That's how rigid, rare, and impossible it was, even by ancient standards. Why would someone engrave a document so precisely, unless it was of profound importance? To this day, no treasure listed in the Copper Scroll has been found. Yet the search continues, not just for riches, but for validation of ancient truth. If even one site proves accurate, it could rewrite biblical history and world archaeology. And more frighteningly, it might expose a cover-up spanning thousands of years of silence. In the desert's heat, beneath modern cities or buried temples, the scroll's secrets may sleep. But with every passing year, more seekers rise to awaken what history tried to bury. In the quiet French village of Castelnau, a discovery was made that defied logic. A professor named Georges Vacher Delapuge uncovered massive human bones in 1890. These weren't from elephants, dinosaurs, or mythological beasts, but unmistakably human in structure. A humerus, a tibia, and a femoral shaft, all absurdly oversized. Based on their proportions, the being would have stood over 11 feet tall. Not just tall, gigantic, beyond the normal range of human possibility or genetics. The femur alone was over 13 inches long and thicker than any known humans. These weren't warped or diseased bones. They showed signs of healthy anatomical growth. Lapouche didn't speculate wildly. He measured, documented, and presented them to the scientific world. But instead of excitement, he was met with silence, mockery, and quick dismissal. The bones mysteriously disappeared after being sent to the University of Montpellier for study. No modern photographs, no scans, no full public documentation ever emerged again. Just sketches, detailed notes, and a legacy buried beneath academic denial and forgotten archives. Why would the existence of a giant human shake the world so deeply? Because it contradicts the standard model of evolution and human developmental history entirely. If one giant lived, could there have been tribes or even whole civilizations? And if so, why are they not found in history books or museums? Some ancient texts, from the Bible to Sumerian tablets, mention races of giants. The Nephilim, the Anakim, the Repime, Titans. Were these just metaphors, or records of real, now buried bloodlines and beings? Across the globe, we find similar discoveries kept out of mainstream discussion. Massive skeletons found in North America, often by early settlers and native tribes. Giant weapons, oversized helmets, and massive burial mounds erased from textbooks and institutions. It's as if history was rewritten to fit only what we can control. Was the giant of Castelnau an anomaly, or a surviving remnant of prehistory? Did it come from a long-lost race wiped out by flood or fire? Or was it simply too inconvenient for a system afraid of rewriting its roots? The soil of southern France may still hold the rest of the truth. And while his bones are gone, the question left behind refuses to die. What if giants once walked the earth, and we chose to forget? In a museum corner in Baghdad once stood an object that rewrote possibility. A clay jar, simple and unassuming, yet holding within it a dangerous question. Was electricity discovered not in the 18th century, but 2,000 years ago? The artifact, unearthed near modern-day Baghdad in 1938, dates back to the Parthian era. Inside the jar were a copper cylinder and an iron rod strangely corroded. Some believe it once held an acidic liquid, like vinegar or fermented grape juice. When combined, the components form a crude but functioning electrochemical cell, a battery. That's not a theory. It's been tested. Replicas produced a measurable electric charge. So then arises the terrifying question, what could ancient people possibly power with electricity? Some historians dismiss the idea, claiming the jars were simply used for storage. But if that's true, why the metal components aligned so deliberately within each jar? And why are similar designs found across multiple sites, suggesting this was not isolated? Ancient Mesopotamia is known for its ziggurats, writing systems, and early mathematics. But electricity? That would place their technological understanding millennia ahead of their supposed timeline. The implications are staggering. Could this battery have been used for electroplating metals, gold on silver perhaps? Or even for medicinal purposes, like stimulating muscles or treating disease with electric currents? Some fringe theorists even suggest illumination, implying ancient temples may have glowed without fire. Even more bizarre, similar jars have been found as far as Egypt and Persia. Is it coincidence, or evidence of a forgotten electrical knowledge spread across early empires? Mainstream academia avoids the subject, often labeling it as speculative or pseudo-archaeological nonsense. But dismissing evidence without deeper inquiry is not science. It's institutional arrogance. The Baghdad battery challenges a timeline that places ancient humans as primitive and candlelit. It hints at a legacy of knowledge lost or deliberately buried by time. Unfortunately, the original artifact was lost during the looting of Baghdad's museum in 2003. Another convenient disappearance, another mystery stolen from humanity under the cover of chaos. But replicas remain, and the science is undeniable. The charge is real. Whether it powered rituals, tools, or technologies, the current of history remains electrified. And somewhere in our forgotten past, the light may have flickered long before Edison. In the heart of Staffordshire, England, stands a silent monument to genius or madness. The Shepherd's Monument, built in the 18th century, appears ordinary to the untrained eye. But carved beneath its marble relief lies an inscription no one has ever deciphered. Just 10 letters, OUOSVAVV, flanked by DM. For centuries, historians, cryptologists, and treasure hunters have tried to decode this cryptic riddle. Some believe it conceals a religious message. Others say it hides a map to treasure. One theory connects the code to the Holy Grail, the legendary relic of Christ. A link inspired by the sculpture itself, modeled after Nicolas Poussin's painting, It in Arcadia Ego. That painting, too, holds its share of eerie symbology and whispered secret society origins. The phrase et in Arcadia ego suggests death lurks even in paradise's embrace. And in that strange echo, the Shugborough monument seems to guard something far darker. Some claim the monument was commissioned by a member of the Priory of Sion. Others link it to the Rosicrucians, Freemasons, or other shadowy Enlightenment-era groups. Whatever its origin, the monument refuses to reveal the meaning of its 10 letters. Over the decades, countless codes have been proposed: Latin acronyms, biblical references, numeric patterns. Some even suggest it's a directional cipher to a hidden chamber beneath the estate. Yet no interpretation has ever been universally accepted or scientifically confirmed by cryptographic standards. And the letters themselves mock the arrogance of modern logic with brutal elegance. 10 symbols, just enough to mean everything, but too few to prove anything. It's as if the code was made not to be solved, but to survive. Theories also point to Admiral George Anson, whose family owned the Shugborough estate. He circumnavigated the globe, fought pirates, and returned with both wealth and mysterious relics. Was the monument built to encode a secret discovered during his global voyage? Others speculate that it hides the location of scrolls lost from the Library of Alexandria, or maps to pre-Christian relics buried to protect them from invading imperial forces. If true, the Shugborough Code isn't just a riddle, it's a vault of civilization. Even the letters DM, flanking the code, hint at ancient Roman tombstones. Dismanimus, to the spirits of the dead, a haunting dedication indeed. In the age of supercomputers, artificial intelligence, and quantum algorithms, the code remains untouched. A message in stone that mocks modernity while whispering across the chasm of time. And as long as it remains unsolved, the monument holds power over the curious. Because some riddles aren't meant to be broken, they're meant to remind us that history still hides its sharpest truths in plain sight, waiting to be understood. On a remote island, thousands of miles from the nearest continent, lies a script. Not painted on parchment, but carved into sacred wood by unknown ancient hands. This script is called Rongo Rongo, and no one alive today can read it. Found only on Easter Island, or Rapa Nui, the script remains utterly unique. Unlike any other known writing system, it contains glyphs of humans, animals, and geometry. The lines are written in reverse boustrophedon, read in alternating directions, line by line. But here's the riddle. No other Polynesian culture ever developed a writing system at all. So where did this complex, symbolic language come from on such a remote island? Rapa Nui was already famous for its moai, giant stone heads defying engineering logic. But Rongo Rongo may be even more mysterious, because it encodes thought, not stone. Some believe it holds the key to the island's lost history and untold truths. Only 24 authentic Rongo Rongo tablets survive, scattered in museums across the world. And tragically, none of the island's last elders remembered how to read the glyphs. Oral tradition says the knowledge was lost when invaders burned the tablets in great fires. Others were taken by colonial explorers, missionaries, or traders who saw no value in them. One by one, the voices of the tablets were silenced, their meanings erased forever. Some speculate the writing predates Polynesian arrival, hinting at contact with unknown ancient peoples. Others believe it was inspired by South American scripts, possibly the Incan Quipu system. But no theory explains its sudden appearance, or why it vanished just as quickly. Linguists have spent decades analyzing the glyphs, but found no definitive pattern or translation key. No Rosetta Stone has ever been found, no bilingual text to unlock its secrets. And without a breakthrough, every line of Rongo Rongo remains a message in darkness. Could the tablets describe how the moai were built, moved, or even powered? Could they hold legends of ancient voyages, cosmic visitors, or forgotten global cataclysms? Rapa Nui's people once believed the tablets possessed mana, a sacred spiritual energy. Perhaps the real power wasn't in the wood, but in the knowledge it preserved. Today, the last voices that knew the script are long dead and buried. And in their silence, Rongo Rongo stares back at us, defiant, unbroken, and unspoken. It is not just a lost language. It is a cultural scream frozen in time. A reminder that when a language dies, the soul of a people vanishes with it. On a lonely hill in Oxfordshire, England, a ghostly shape haunts the land. It's not built of stone or wood or metal, but carved into earth. Known as the Uffington White Horse, this 360-foot-long figure defies time and understanding. The horse is not drawn in naturalistic form, but with flowing abstract lines. It looks like something from modern art, yet it dates back over 3,000 years. Archaeologists estimate its creation in the Bronze Age, long before Rome ever reached Britain. Created by digging trenches and filling them with crushed white chalk, it gleams from afar. Yet its full form can only be seen from the sky or distant hills. The ancient builders never had that aerial view, so who was it truly made for? Was it meant for the gods watching from above, or something even more mysterious? Some believe it was a tribal emblem, marking territory in an age of myth. Others think it was a spiritual offering, carved to please sky deities or celestial beings. Its constant maintenance over thousands of years suggests generations felt bound to preserve its form. Without care, it would fade into grass and soil, but it never truly vanished. That dedication hints at sacred significance, not just art or primitive graffiti on the land. Legends swirl around the hill it stands upon, once called Dragon Hill. Folklore claims St. George slew a dragon here, its blood staining the soil forever. Others say the horse itself represents a dragon, a serpentine guardian of ancient power. The site overlooks ancient pathways and burial mounds older than written, English or Latin. Could the figure be part of a forgotten religious complex lost to prehistoric silence? Some researchers believe the white horse tracks astronomical events like solstices or lunar alignments. Its position and orientation may connect it with star cycles or solar worship rituals. Others whisper theories more unsettling, that it marks the location of something buried deep. Not treasure in gold or jewels, but knowledge too powerful for the modern world to hold. No bones, no structures, no definitive purpose has ever been found beneath the chalk. And that absence of answers only makes its presence feel more intentional and more haunting. The white horse endures, not because we understand it, but because we fear forgetting it. Its lines slice through history like a message we're still too blind to read. Perhaps the earth itself is the canvas of forgotten civilizations, and this is their signature. A symbol etched into nature, outlasting kings, empires, and even our curiosity. As the wind howls across the hill, the horse seems to whisper its truth. But like many ancient voices, it speaks in a language no one alive remembers. In the deep waters off Cuba's western coast, sonar picked up something impossible. Not coral reefs or shipwrecks, but geometric shapes, perfectly aligned beneath the ocean floor. Massive stone blocks, right angles, and stepped platforms lying silently 2,000 feet below the surface. In 2001, a Canadian-Cuban expedition stumbled upon these structures while scanning for sunken Spanish galleons. But what they found instead was something far older and far more disturbing. The formations appeared man-made, suggesting roads, pyramids, and massive buildings carved with incredible precision. Some blocks were estimated to be the size of cars, carefully placed in deliberate patterns. This discovery sent shockwaves through the scientific world and ignited ancient civilization theories overnight. Because if man made these structures, they would date back over 10,000 years ago. That would place their construction not just before Egypt, Mesopotamia, or China, but before history itself. It would mean intelligent builders existed during the Ice Age, long before written records began. But if that's true, then why don't we know who they were or what they built? And how did an entire city vanish beneath the sea without leaving a trace on land? Geologists argue such submersion could only happen due to massive tectonic shifts or melted glaciers. But even then, such precise architecture challenges everything we know about ancient technological capability. Cuban authorities acknowledged the discovery, but soon after, research was mysteriously paused and silenced. Equipment failures, political blockades, and funding disappearances all plagued further exploration of the site. Was this an innocent bureaucratic freeze, or a deliberate attempt to keep secrets buried? Some suggest this is a submerged Atlantis, a real-life city erased by rising seas. Others believe it's evidence of a pre-flood civilization, one wiped out by global catastrophe. The indigenous Taino people spoke of sunken lands and gods who walked beneath the waves. Could these myths be distorted memories of a civilization lost beneath the Caribbean waters? Underwater archaeology is notoriously difficult, especially at the depths where this anomaly rests untouched. Pressure, darkness, and sediment make exploration dangerous, slow, and almost impossible without advanced equipment. And yet, the ocean has a perfect memory. It buries but never forgets. What lies beneath those Cuban waves may change our understanding of human origins forever. A forgotten city, untouched by time, waiting beneath layers of silt and silence. A place where stone speaks louder than words, if we dare to listen. But until someone returns with truth and courage, that underwater city remains just out of reach. A monument to the possibility that our past is far stranger than we ever imagined. In a quiet Yale University library, locked behind glass, lies a forbidden manuscript. Its pages are filled with looping script in a language no one has deciphered. Strange, alien letters twist across parchment like the thoughts of another world entirely. This is the Voynich manuscript, a codex that defies every codebreaker, linguist, and scholar. Discovered in 1912 by rare book dealer Wilfrid Voynich, its origin remains completely unknown. Carbon dating reveals it was written sometime in the early 1400s. But by whom? Its pages are filled with bizarre illustrations, impossible plants, unknown constellations, and nude women bathing. Botanical drawings show flora that doesn't exist on Earth, or at least not anymore. Diagrams suggest a cosmology unlinked to any culture, like a universe unto itself. And the script? It resembles no known language, alphabet, or cipher ever discovered by humanity. Over 100 cryptologists, historians, and code experts have tried and failed to decode it. Even the FBI and NSA reportedly examined it, only to walk away baffled and silent. Some believe it's an elaborate hoax, created to deceive medieval scholars or royalty for profit. But linguistic analysis shows patterns consistent with real language, not meaningless scribbles or random symbols. Artificial intelligence recently found statistical patterns like those in spoken language, but still no translation. This deepens the mystery. If it's real, who spoke this language? Where did they live? And why would someone go through the trouble of creating an entire forgotten alphabet? Others claim it's a magical text, written in a secret tongue used by mystics. Some even suggest it's a channeling from otherworldly beings or civilizations beyond Earth. Its vellum pages show no corrections, no edits, just flawless, continuous transcription, as if the writer wasn't inventing, but copying something already known and memorized. The manuscript is divided into sections: herbal, astronomical, biological, cosmological, and what seems to be recipes. Yet none of the ingredients, stars, or symbols match any known culture or catalog. What if the Voynich manuscript is a survivor of a civilization we never recorded? Or worse, what if it documents knowledge we were never meant to understand? A lost science? ancient medicine, alien biology, or forgotten magic encoded to protect its power. Maybe it was hidden, because unlocking it would rewrite history or reality as we know it. For now, the book remains a locked box in humanity's library, unread, untouched, undefeated. Its silence speaks louder than pages of known wisdom, because it still keeps it secret. Until someone cracks its code, the Voynich manuscript is a whisper from a lost world, a message not just unread, but possibly unreadable by minds born in this age. In 1952, inside a cave near Qumran, archaeologists made a shocking discovery. Not fragile parchment or faded leather, but a scroll made entirely of hammered copper. Unlike other Dead Sea Scrolls, this one could not be unrolled by hand. It was cut into strips with a saw, revealing secrets hidden for millennia. What it contained was unlike any biblical text. It was a treasure map. Not poetic or symbolic, but direct instructions. Where, what, and how much was buried. It listed 64 locations, each hiding massive hoards of gold, silver, and sacred objects. Some entries described underground cisterns. Others pointed to rivers, valleys, or ancient ruins long forgotten. The quantities were staggering: tons of silver ingots, golden vessels, and priestly artifacts. Enough to fund armies or empires, all supposedly buried during the Second Temple period. But no treasure has ever been found, not even one item from the list. Despite decades of searching, the locations remain unsolved, like riddles swallowed by time and dust. Scholars are divided. Some believe it describes real hiding places. Others say it's symbolic scripture. But the precision of the entries reads more like military inventory than religious allegory. Who wrote it? And why on copper, a metal meant to endure forever? Perhaps it was intended to be found one day when the world was ready. Some believe it was written by Essenes, a secretive sect preserving holy relics. Others claim it was a desperate act to protect temple riches from Roman invaders. Or could it be the remnant of an even older mystery? A lost kingdom's last will? A civilization erasing its own footprint, entrusting the earth to keep its wealth hidden. The Dead Sea region is treacherous, and shifting landscapes may have buried the clues permanently. Earthquakes, landslides, and time itself may have erased access to these cryptic treasure vaults. Modern technology like ground-penetrating radar has been deployed, yet the scroll's promise remains unfulfilled. Each failed expedition only deepens the mystery. Was it all real? Or an elaborate riddle? If the treasures exist, they could change biblical history, economic power, and religious authority overnight. They may even contain lost books, prophetic scrolls, or technology far ahead of its time. And if they don't exist, then why such incredible detail, engraved in immortal copper? What kind of mind wrote this, and what were they truly trying to preserve? The copper scroll stands alone, not just as a map, but as a challenge. A whispered dare from the ancient world: find us if you still can. Until someone does, it remains the most mysterious treasure map in human history. Not just a key to riches, but perhaps to secrets far more valuable than gold. In the heart of Maharashtra, India, an enigma rises from solid basalt stone. It's not built brick by brick. It was carved entirely from above downward. This is Kailasa Temple, the crown jewel of the Ellora caves, and it defies logic. A sacred monument to Lord Shiva, carved from a single mountain, not assembled. Historians estimate that over 200,000 tons of rock were meticulously removed by hand. Not in pieces, but with precise chiseling through volcanic stone, centuries before modern machinery existed. The temple features soaring pillars, intricate sculptures, vast courtyards, and hidden underground chambers within the mountain, all carved with symmetry, mathematical perfection, and symbolic alignment, without altering the stone's foundation. Its construction is believed to have started in the 8th century, by King Krishna I. Yet no known text or record explains how such engineering was even possible at the time. If done by hand, it would have taken generations of laborers and master artisans. But legends say it was completed in mere decades, a claim scholars still debate. Some believe celestial beings or advanced civilizations aided in the temple's rapid creation. Others wonder if lost ancient technologies, now vanished, allowed for such architectural mastery. Unlike other temples, Kailasa was not created by stacking stones. It was reverse engineered. Artists had one chance only. A single mistake could ruin the entire mountain structure. Carving down from the top without modern surveying tools defies what we understand of ancient methods. The symmetry is uncanny, especially considering workers couldn't visualize the final form until nearly complete. Intricate deities, elephants, lions, and cosmic scenes are sculpted into every wall and beam. Their depth and expression reveal a level of skill beyond mere physical craftsmanship. Some researchers note that the temple aligns with celestial patterns and Vedic cosmology precisely. Could it serve a dual purpose, both a temple and a cosmic calendar in stone? The temple bears no signs of earlier drafts, failures, or reworking, just architectural confidence. This hints at plans or tools more advanced than anything currently found in ancient India. Why does no surviving blueprint, manual, or historical narrative explain its miraculous creation? Could its builders have hidden their knowledge to protect sacred secrets or forbidden techniques? Some fringe theories suggest vibration tools, sound manipulation, or even forgotten energy systems were involved. But without evidence, these remain speculation, intriguing, yet forever cloaked in historical fog. Kailasa Temple is not just stone, it's an equation carved into Earth's surface. A message in granite that our ancestors were not primitive, but visionary beyond belief. Whether built by human brilliance or divine inspiration, the temple rewrites what ancient engineering could achieve. And it silently dares modern civilization to match its mystery, without machines and solid rock. In the ancient city of Alexandria, once stood a sanctuary of unparalleled human knowledge. The Library of Alexandria wasn't just a building. It was a symbol of civilization as mind. Founded in the 3rd century BCE, under Ptolemy I, it housed over 400,000 scrolls. These weren't mere books. They were the accumulated genius of Egypt, Greece, Babylon, and India. Mathematics, astronomy, medicine, philosophy, all recorded, translated, and stored within its hallowed marble halls. It was said that every ship arriving in Alexandria had its texts copied immediately. Scholars traveled across continents to read, debate, and preserve human wisdom under one sacred roof. Ideas flowed freely here, blending cultures, sparking revolutions in science centuries ahead of their time. But one day, or perhaps over several dark centuries, it vanished into ash. The greatest tragedy? We don't even know when or how the library truly died. Some blame Julius Caesar's siege of Alexandria in 48 BCE, where fire raged uncontrolled. Others point to Christian zealots in the 4th century, who saw pagan knowledge as heresy. Still others whisper of Muslim invaders in the 7th century, who allegedly destroyed the last scrolls. But none of these accounts are certain, and that uncertainty is its cruelest mystery. What was lost in those flames may never be replaced by modern minds. Works by Aristotle, lost plays of Euripides, even forgotten maps of the ancient world. Medical breakthroughs, cosmic theories, or records of ancient civilizations long erased by war and time. Perhaps even documents revealing truths about Atlantis, Lemuria, or prehistoric cataclysms gone forever. Imagine if the scrolls of Babylon or Atlantean technologies had survived through this portal. Could humanity have entered the industrial age 1,000 years earlier or reached the stars? Some believe fragments may still exist, hidden in private collections, buried in desert sands. But without the library's nexus, their meaning is scattered, disconnected, and often misunderstood. Modern libraries store information, but the Library of Alexandria preserved the essence of civilization itself. It wasn't just about storage. It was a crucible where human thought was reborn. The loss is not just historical. It's spiritual, cultural, intellectual, and existential at once. A void that haunts historians, a wound in humanity's timeline that never truly healed. And yet, its memory endures, as a warning and as a dream of rebirth. That someday, humanity may again value knowledge more than power and build a new Alexandria. Scattered across Europe, strange bronze objects have puzzled archaeologists for over 2 centuries. They are called Roman Dodecahedrons, 12-sided hollow shapes with circular holes on each face. Some are small enough to fit in your palm, others a bit larger in size. But none are inscribed, labeled, or described in surviving Roman texts, which is deeply unusual. These mysterious artifacts have been found in Britain, France, Germany, and Hungary, never in Rome itself. They're often discovered in fields, near Roman fortresses, or buried in forgotten rural settlements. Despite Roman precision and order, these objects seem to serve no obvious military or domestic function. They don't resemble weapons, tools, ornaments, or any known category from ancient Roman daily life. Scholars have proposed dozens of theories, and yet not one is universally accepted or proven. Some believe they were astronomical instruments, possibly used to track solstices or map constellations. Others suggest they were gauges for measuring pipes, or even knitting tools for wool gloves. But why then would they be so elaborately designed and made from precious bronze? Some say they held spiritual significance, perhaps used in rituals lost to written history. Could they be talismans of protection, linked to forgotten Roman deities or secret cults? The symmetry is precise. Each hole varies in diameter, but in an intentional pattern. This has led some to think they were mathematical teaching devices or surveying tools for land. But still, no 2 dodecahedrons are identical. Each one is subtly unique in form. That raises even more questions. Were they handmade by artisans following a lost set of rules? There is no documentation from Rome's vast libraries that even mentions these peculiar artifacts. How could something so widespread, so intentionally crafted, remain entirely absent from historical record? Conspiracy theorists suggest they were relics from a pre-Roman civilization, adopted and misunderstood. Others speculate even wilder origins, alien communication devices, or remnants of a long-lost science. Without inscriptions, context, or even a definitive place of origin, they remain archaeology's silent riddle. Museums display them like trophies of confusion, each one daring us to solve its puzzle. Perhaps their true meaning was deliberately kept secret, known only to an elite Roman priesthood. Or maybe they were personal objects, never meant for public use or documentation at all. In a world obsessed with clarity, the Roman dodecahedron stands defiantly mysterious and beautifully cryptic. Proof that even the most advanced civilizations can still leave behind unknowable artifacts of wonder. In 1947, a Bedouin shepherd tossed a stone into a desert cave. The sound of breaking pottery led to one of the greatest discoveries ever made. Inside the cave, he found scrolls aged, cracked, and written in a forgotten hand. Over the next decade, 11 caves would yield thousands of scroll fragments and parchments. These texts came to be known as the Dead Sea Scrolls, and they changed everything. Dated to over 2,000 years ago, they predate much of the biblical canon itself. Written in Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek, they preserve scriptures never seen in any Bible. Some texts matched the Old Testament, others added chapters, and many rewrote what we thought we knew. Among the scrolls were previously unknown psalms, apocalyptic prophecies, temple rituals, and ancient sectarian laws. One scroll, a community rule, described a radical Jewish sect that lived apart from society. Many scholars believe they were Essenes, a reclusive group awaiting the end of the world. Their writings reflect a faith both familiar and wildly different from mainstream Judaism or Christianity. Some scrolls even hinted at multiple messiahs, not one, challenging central religious narratives completely. And the famous War Scroll spoke of a cosmic battle between sons of light and darkness. But it wasn't just theology they preserved. It was history, language, politics, and lost traditions. The scrolls offered a snapshot of life, belief, and conflict in Second Temple-era Judea. Their survival defied logic over 2,000 years in dry desert caves, untouched by time. Yet they remained intact enough to read, study, and piece together with modern precision. And still, mysteries linger. Who hid them? Why were they hidden so deliberately? Were they fleeing Roman destruction, internal purges, or a prophecy too dangerous to reveal? Some even believe the scrolls were part of a larger undiscovered library still buried nearby. One artifact, a copper scroll, reads like a treasure map pointing to unknown sacred locations. To this day, excavations continue in the caves surrounding Qumran, searching for answers buried deep. But religious and political tensions make that search as dangerous as it is sacred. The scrolls remind us that Scripture is not a fixed truth, but a living dialogue, and that even the oldest religions have roots far more complex than we imagined. Their words echo across time, ancient ink on parchment, still whispering secrets to modern ears. And as scholars debate their meaning, the scrolls remain timeless relics of divine and human thought. Beneath the sands of Hawara in Egypt lies something forgotten and colossal in scale. Ancient texts speak of it in awe, a structure rivaling even the Great Pyramids. Greek historian Herodotus, often called the father of history, wrote about it in 5th century BCE. He claimed it contained 3,000 rooms, both above ground and carved deep underground in stone. According to him, the labyrinth surpassed all monuments of Egypt in grandeur and complexity. Columns, courts, passages, and chambers stretched in dizzying symmetry, designed to confuse all who entered. The purpose of this architectural marvel remains unclear. Was it religious, political, or something else? Egyptian priest Manetho and Roman writer Pliny the Elder also echoed stories of this lost place. They described walls covered in carvings, sacred tombs, and secrets hidden beneath the Nile's reach. Yet, despite all these accounts, no confirmed remains of the labyrinth have ever been uncovered. In 2008, a joint Egyptian-Belgian expedition conducted radar scans near the ruins of Hawara. What they found shook the scientific community: massive geometric anomalies buried beneath the sand. The radar revealed grid-like structures matching the scale and layout of ancient descriptions. But for reasons unknown, the Egyptian authorities quickly halted further excavation of the site. Some claim the government feared disturbing sacred tombs or unleashing spiritual forces long sealed away. Others believe there's a hidden agenda. Perhaps something deeper lies beneath official explanation. What could be so threatening beneath the sands that modern archaeology is afraid to uncover? A burial ground of ancient kings? A vault of pre-dynastic knowledge? Or something extraterrestrial? Conspiracy theories flourish, from lost Atlantean archives to stargates connecting Earth to other realms. And yet, mainstream academia remains curiously silent, reluctant to challenge the official archaeological narrative. If the labyrinth truly exists, it could rewrite Egypt's history and timeline from the foundation. It might reveal lost dynasties, ancient technologies, or forgotten belief systems buried for millennia. And if it doesn't exist, why did so many ancient authors describe it in detail? Were they all repeating myths, or had they seen glimpses of something now buried forever? In the silence of Hawara, The desert keeps her secrets with unwavering loyalty and patience. And somewhere beneath our feet, perhaps the greatest architectural enigma in human history still sleeps. Until then, the lost labyrinth of Egypt remains a shadow, too vast to ignore, yet too buried to explore. In the middle of the Pacific Ocean, off the island of Pohnpei, something impossible rises. Massive stone ruins lie scattered across a lagoon, forming a city built entirely on water. Known as Nan-Madol, it consists of over 90 artificial islets interconnected by ancient basalt causeways. The entire complex is built from volcanic rock, some stones weighing over 50 tons. No cranes, no pulleys, and no wheels were ever used in its construction. And yet, centuries ago, someone transported thousands of these stones across open sea. Local legends say the stones were flown into place by ancient sorcery or giant magic. Oral histories speak of two brothers, Olisipa and Olasipa, who summoned the powers of levitation. They ruled as high priests and established the Sadalar dynasty, building the city as their seat. But over time, their rule grew tyrannical, and the people turned against them in fear. The city's eerie silence today echoes those tales of forbidden rituals and figures long forgotten. Nan-Madol was more than a city. It was a ceremonial and religious capital. Its walls enclosed temples, tombs, sacred pools, and places of initiation hidden from the outside world. The city appears to float, as if its builders defied not just physics, but time. Archaeologists believe construction began around the 8th century, but no written records confirm its origins. How did an island culture with no advanced tools build such an architectural wonder? Even today, building something similar would be a monumental feat requiring global cooperation and machinery. Yet Nan-Madol stands alone, forgotten by history and ignored by modern world maps. Some have called it the Venice of the Pacific. Others believe it's the remains of Lemuria. Its mysterious layout aligns with astronomical events, hinting at knowledge far older than assumed. Curiously, no one ever lived permanently in the city. It was ceremonial, never residential. And after the fall of the Sadalar rulers, it was abandoned and left to the jungle. Local people avoid Nan-Madol after dark, believing spirits guard the ruins and punish intruders. Strange lights, sudden illness, and vanishing explorers fuel the legends of a cursed island city. What remains today is a ghost city built on coral and ancient ambition, a reminder that not all advanced civilizations left their legacy in textbooks or modern museums. Nan-Madol endures, whispering across waves and stone that greatness can exist in silence, and power can sink beneath the sea. Off the coast of Japan, beneath the turquoise waters near Yonaguni Island, lies a mystery. Massive stone formations rest submerged, with straight edges and terraces unlike any natural reef. Discovered in 1986 by a local diver, these underwater ruins suggest a forgotten ancient city. The formations include step-like terraces, flat walls, and even what appear to be carved stairways. Some researchers argue these are natural sandstone formations sculpted by centuries of erosion, but others believe they are remnants of a prehistoric civilization lost to rising sea levels. If man-made, the Yonaguni monument would predate many known ancient structures by thousands of years. This would rewrite history, proving advanced societies existed long before recorded human civilization. Carbon dating and geological surveys are inconclusive, fueling heated debate between skeptics and believers. The possibility that a once thriving city now lies hidden beneath the waves fascinates archaeologists worldwide. Legends from the nearby Ryukyu Islands speak of a sunken kingdom, lost beneath the ocean's depths. Stories tell of a prosperous land swallowed by the sea after great cataclysms thousands of years ago. Despite political and scientific controversy, many divers risk dangerous currents to explore the site's secrets. The monument's imposing presence raises profound questions about human history and ancient engineering skills. If this is truly an ancient city, what caused its submersion, and where did its people go? Could this site be a glimpse of a forgotten chapter in humanity's long, complex past? Yonaguni challenges our understanding of time, progress, and the fragile nature of human achievement. Beneath the waves, the silent stones wait, telling a story that is still being deciphered. On a windswept hill in England, a gigantic horse is carved into chalk. The Uffington White Horse stretches over 110 meters, visible from miles away. Unlike typical stone statues, this figure is a massive hill figure cut into earth. Its origins date back nearly 3,000 years, to the late Bronze Age or early Iron Age. Its style is abstract and striking, unlike any other prehistoric animal art in Europe. Scholars have debated its meaning for centuries. Was it a tribal emblem or a deity? Some suggest the horse represents power, fertility, or the sun moving across the sky. Others argue it marks sacred land, a territorial boundary, or a site of ritual significance. The white horse's curves are smooth and elegant, suggesting skilled craftsmanship beyond its era. Maintaining the bright whiteness requires continual care, with locals scraping back vegetation annually. Archaeological excavations revealed a nearby prehistoric settlement and burial mounds connected to the figure. This suggests the horse may have served as a spiritual guardian for the ancient community. Folklore links the figure to legends of King Alfred and mythical creatures of the past. Some believe it was a symbol of resistance, or a signpost for travelers on ancient paths. Despite centuries of study, the Uffington White Horse refuses to reveal its true purpose. It stands as a timeless reminder that symbols can transcend time and cultural shifts. Its presence continues to inspire mystery and awe, capturing imaginations across generations and nations. The horse remains an enduring puzzle carved into the earth, both ancient and eternal. In the ancient city of Baalbek, Lebanon, lies a riddle carved in stone. Towering megaliths, some of the largest ever quarried by human hands, dominate the ruins. The trilithon stones weigh over 800 tons each, dwarfing anything built in modern civilization. Even with today's machinery, transporting such massive blocks would be nearly impossible without custom equipment. These stones were not merely placed, they were perfectly aligned, leveled, and fitted into position. And they formed the foundation of what was once a colossal Roman temple to Jupiter. But here's the enigma. The Roman stones rest atop even older, larger monoliths beneath. The stone of the pregnant woman, partially buried, weighs an estimated 1,000 tons, if not more. No ancient texts explain how or why these stones were quarried with such ambition. The quarry lies uphill from the site, adding another layer of baffling complexity to transport theories. Mainstream archaeologists suggest wooden rollers and labor over decades. Yet physics raises serious doubts. Ancient legends claim Baalbek was once the residence of giants or pre-human gods. Local myths say Cain, the son of Adam, built Baalbek before the flood. Others believe it was a landing platform for celestial beings or extraterrestrials from beyond. The temple itself was later Romanized, but the foundation predates the Roman Empire by centuries. Some archaeologists suspect the base may be Phoenician, or even earlier, but evidence remains elusive. High-precision cuts, seamless joints, and unexplained wear patterns suggest knowledge we still don't fully understand. Why build so large, so heavy, and with such inhuman scale and precision? Was it symbolic, functional, or perhaps connected to unknown energy systems lost to history? The deeper you look into Baalbek, the more questions emerge without clear answers. Above ground, the grandeur of Roman architecture still impresses, but it's the foundations that whisper secrets. They speak of forgotten architects, unknown tools, and ancient motives buried beneath myth and dust. Baalbek stands as a monument, not just of stone, but of defiance against time. It tells us history is not a straight line, and humanity's past is far stranger than we dare to admit. In 1513, an Ottoman admiral named Piri Reis created a map that defied history. Drawn on Gizal skin parchment, the map stunned future generations with its impossible accuracy. This was not just a seafarer's sketch, it was a cartographic masterpiece centuries ahead of time. It accurately portrayed the western coast of Africa, Brazil's eastern edge, and parts of South America. But what truly disturbed scholars was the shape of a distant, frozen southern landmass. The map seemed to depict Antarctica, centuries before it was officially discovered in 1820. Even more bizarre, the coastline shown was not covered in ice like it is today. Instead, it resembled subglacial topography, a view only available through modern satellite and radar imaging. How could a 16th century admiral chart something we only confirmed in the 20th century? Piri Reis claimed he based his map on older sources, some dating back thousands of years. He referenced maps from ancient seafarers, possibly Greeks, Phoenicians, or even lost civilizations before history began. Could these ancient people have possessed maritime technology we no longer understand or recognize? The map uses a form of projection that aligns with modern aviation mapping techniques. This implies an advanced grasp of geometry and spherical trigonometry long before its documented invention. There are no known cultures in 1513 with the tools to create such precision. So where did these earlier maps come from, and who created the originals? Some researchers suggest the knowledge survived the destruction of the Library of Alexandria, lost to time. Others propose even more radical ideas: ancient global explorers or pre-ice age civilizations. The map's accuracy defies the instruments available during the early 1500s, especially for measuring latitude. And yet, the map exists, preserved and catalogued in Istanbul's Topkapi Palace to this day. The Piri Reis map challenges not only our understanding of exploration, but of memory itself. It suggests that great knowledge may have existed, been lost, and is now being rediscovered. Like a message in a bottle drifting through time, it whispers of forgotten worlds. A single piece of parchment that rewrote everything we thought we knew about ancient navigation. Deep within the mysterious valleys of central China lies a story rarely told aloud. Locals whisper of a colossal white pyramid, hidden for centuries beneath layers of secrecy. Unlike Egypt's pyramids, this one is veiled not by sand, but by policy. Standing nearly 300 feet tall, some claim it dwarfs even the Great Pyramid of Giza. In 1945, U.S. Army pilot James Gaussman allegedly photographed the giant while flying over Xi'an. He described a gleaming white capstone and perfectly symmetrical sides rising from a vast plain. A few years later, another pilot, Colonel Morris Sheehan, confirmed seeing the same massive structure. His report appeared in American newspapers, igniting global curiosity that Chinese authorities quickly silenced. The Chinese government has since denied access to foreign archaeologists or satellite analysis of the site. Satellite imagery shows massive, unnatural mounds in Shanxi province, some with pyramid-like geometry. But official statements insist these are only burial hills, with no unusual significance or contents. Why would a modern state downplay the existence of a monument of such historic importance? Some speculate that the pyramid holds ancient records, extraterrestrial relics, or imperial secrets from dynasties past. Others believe it may date back to pre-dynastic times, far older than official timelines suggest. The legend of the Great White Pyramid survives in local myths passed down through generations. Tales speak of sky gods who descended in fire and gifted knowledge to early kings. Chinese texts from 5,000 years ago describe pyramid-shaped tombs of divine rulers from the heavens. Could this megastructure be the very one those ancient scrolls described in symbolic form? It remains untouched, unexcavated, and virtually unmentioned in modern history books or academic institutions worldwide. Even China's own archaeologists rarely discuss it, as if forbidden from probing too deeply. Why hide a structure that could rewrite not just Chinese history, but human origins? If the White Pyramid exists as claimed, it may contain the key to Earth's lost past, a mountain of stone, cloaked in silence, guarding a truth the world may not be ready for. Until the soil is turned and the veil lifted, the White Pyramid waits in shadows. In a dim chamber of Sweden's National Library sits a book draped in darkness. Bound in leather and iron, it weighs nearly 165 pounds, an unnatural literary colossus. This is the Codex Gigas, also known as the Devil's Bible, feared for centuries. At nearly 3 feet long, it's the largest surviving medieval manuscript in the world. Legend says it was written by a single monk in just one terrifying night. That monk, condemned for breaking his vows, begged his monastery to spare his life. In exchange, he promised to write a book containing all human knowledge in one day. As midnight neared and despair consumed him, he allegedly made a pact with Satan. The result was this massive tome, filled with sacred texts, forbidden rituals, and more. But it's one chilling image that haunts readers, a full-page portrait of the devil himself. The demon is drawn with red eyes, claws, horns, and a mocking grin, not as a metaphor, but as if the artist had seen him firsthand. The ink never fades, the pages remain pristine, and the origin is still debated. No signs of multiple hands appear in the script. It flows with eerie consistency. Historians agree the calligraphy is flawless throughout, as if written without rest or hesitation. This would be nearly impossible without fatigue, yet no mistakes or corrections exist. Its contents are equally baffling. The entire Bible, medical texts, exorcism spells, and demonic incantations. Sacred doctrine sits side by side with dark arts, as though duality was the intent. Why would a monk include cures for illness alongside rituals to summon spirits of hell? Was it meant to preserve knowledge, or serve something far more sinister? Monasteries that housed the Codex over the centuries were plagued by war, fire, and ruin. Some believe it brings misfortune wherever it goes, a cursed object in disguise. Others claim the book has a consciousness and stares back when you dare to read it. Researchers who've studied it describe feelings of dread, insomnia, and inexplicable illness soon after. The Devil's Bible is not just a book, it is a confrontation with fear. A reminder that knowledge can enlighten, but sometimes it opens doors we cannot close. Long before the rise of Aztecs or Mayans, another people roamed the Americas. The Clovis culture, named after a New Mexico site, appeared around 13,000 years ago. They left behind expertly crafted stone tools, arrowheads, and weapons with unmatched precision and strength. Their technology spread across the continent, marking them as North America's earliest known civilization. For decades, scientists believed they were the first humans to populate the New World. But the true mystery lies not in their origin, but in their disappearance. Around 10,700 years ago, the Clovis people vanished from the archaeological record almost overnight. No signs of war, no famine, no disease, just silence and absence. Their abrupt disappearance is one of the greatest unsolved puzzles in American prehistory. What could wipe out an entire civilization with such speed and thoroughness? One theory blames the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis, a possible comet or asteroid strike. This event may have caused mass extinctions and climate chaos across the northern hemisphere. Another suggests a mega flood or solar event altered Earth's ecosystem beyond recovery. Still others believe rising sea levels submerged settlements along now lost coasts and river systems. Some researchers even whisper of forgotten migrations, whether Clovis moved elsewhere or underground. But no definitive evidence has emerged to explain the complete absence of Clovis descendants. DNA tracers are debated, artifacts are rare, and sites are too few to follow. It's as if history itself buried them deeper than their bones ever could be. Could they have been wiped out by a sudden shift in Earth's magnetic field? Or did they simply merge with another unknown culture, lost to time and silence? Their tools remain, sharp, elegant, deadly, but the hands that shaped them are gone. A whole people, once masters of survival, now ghosts in forgotten soil and stone. The Clovis culture leaves behind more questions than answers, a whisper of ancient brilliance, a chapter in American history that began in triumph and ended in a vanishing act. Scattered across the jungles and valleys of Costa Rica lie strange, silent guardians. Perfectly rounded, unnaturally smooth, and incredibly ancient, they are known as the Decrees spheres. Some are no bigger than a fist, while others weigh more than 15 tons. Yet nearly all are carved with such precision, they seem shaped by machine or magic. Hundreds of these spheres have been found, buried, aligned, or arranged in cosmic patterns. But the civilization that made them, the Decrees culture, left behind no written record. No tools have been recovered, no construction sites found, only the stones themselves remain. How could a pre-industrial society carve granite and andesite into flawless geometric perfection? Modern sculptors struggle to replicate their symmetry without advanced instruments or laser-level measurements. Yet these ancient artisans achieved it without steel tools, cranes, or any modern technology. Some believe the spheres served astronomical purposes, aligned with stars or solstices long forgotten. Others suggest they marked sacred sites, territories, or were used in religious or burial rituals. But many were moved from their original locations before they could be properly studied. When plantations expanded in the 20th century, workers bulldozed them or rolled them away. Some even drilled holes in them, hoping to find treasure inside, but found nothing. The spheres were not hollow. They were solid, silent, and stubbornly mute to inquiry. What's most striking is their consistency in shape, as if guided by mathematical exactness. Were they created to imitate celestial bodies? Or symbolize something lost to history entirely? The Decrees culture vanished centuries ago, and with it, the purpose of these stones. No texts, no oral legends, no diagrams survived to explain what they truly represent. Yet the spheres continue to draw archaeologists, mystics, and theorists from every corner of the globe. They are relics of a forgotten world that spoke through stone, then vanished without farewell. Today, they sit beneath trees, on museum floors, or hidden beneath layers of earth, waiting for someone to hear the message they've carried for over 1,000 years. Round, cold, and perfect, these ancient orbs challenge everything we thought we understood. In silence, they remind us, the past is stranger than we've ever imagined. Along the southeastern coast of India, ancient stones whisper secrets beneath the crashing waves. In the town of Dodecahedrons, myths speak of 7 majestic temples lost to the sea. Only one temple, the shore temple, remains above water, weathered but still standing proud. But old legends and sailor stories claim 6 more once stood alongside it in glory. These were said to be a marvel of Dravidian architecture, spires of carved granite. Each temple housed gods, dancers, and fire altars, shining like jewels under the sun. The name 7 Pagodas has echoed across centuries through trade routes and colonial accounts alike. But until recently, they were dismissed as myth, poetic exaggerations of a golden age. Then, in 2004, the Indian Ocean tsunami changed the story in a single moment. As the waters violently receded before crashing in, something incredible emerged from the seabed. Locals and tourists saw stone walls, carvings, and steps appear briefly along the shoreline. Archaeologists rushed in afterward and discovered submerged ruins, exactly where legends said they'd be. Divers uncovered giant stone lions, pillars, and platforms now swallowed by centuries of shifting sands. The stones matched the Pallava dynasty's architectural style, confirming the temples were real, not imagined. How and why these temples were swallowed remains a mystery yet to be solved. Some suggest a powerful tsunami thousands of years ago sank part of the city forever. Others wonder whether rising sea levels gradually crept in as the coastline slowly transformed. But the idea of 6 sunken sanctuaries surviving beneath the Indian Ocean stirs imagination worldwide. Ancient Tamil texts reference Mahabalipuram as a city of gods built on cosmic lines. Could these temples have been aligned to celestial events, or even something extraterrestrial? Temples built to honor deities now lie entombed by water, protected from time and man. Their original purpose may never be fully understood, but their beauty defies explanation or decay. Even today, divers still find new carvings, mythological creatures, script, and incomplete sanctuaries underwater. And each discovery brings us closer to understanding the genius and ambition of their creators. The 7 pagodas may be lost, but they are not forgotten by history. Beneath the waves, India's ancient architects still whisper, daring us to uncover the rest. In 1957, an amateur archaeologist made a discovery that shattered historical expectations forever. On a windswept bluff near the coast of Maine, America's past shifted beneath the soil. Among hundreds of indigenous artifacts, stone tools, pottery, and charcoal, something impossibly out of place was uncovered. A small, worn coin surfaced from the dirt, unlike anything found in that region before. It wasn't colonial, it wasn't Spanish, and it wasn't Native American in origin either. Upon closer inspection, it was identified as a Norse coin minted in medieval Norway. Known today as the Maine penny, the artifact is dated between 1065 and 1080 AD. This was during the reign of King Olaf Kyer, far across the Atlantic Ocean. The coin was found at the Goddard site, once a bustling Native American trading hub. Yet its presence there opened a Pandora's box of questions historians still struggle to answer. How did a coin from 11th century Scandinavia end up buried in coastal North America? Did Viking explorers reach farther south than previously believed, possibly hundreds of miles from Newfoundland? The sagas of Leif Erikson tell of Vinland, a mysterious land west of Greenland. Until now, only the Lonceau Meadows site in Canada confirmed those Norse journeys existed. But the Maine penny suggests those voyages may have extended deep into present-day United States. If authentic in context, it challenges the timeline and scope of Viking exploration entirely. Some critics claimed the coin was dropped there by a modern collector in later centuries. But the coin was found in a controlled dig among untouched native layers of occupation. Others argue the coin may have arrived through trade networks spanning thousands of native miles. If so, it proves that Native Americans had intercontinental contact centuries before Columbus arrived. Either way, the coin's presence signals contact between Europe and pre-Columbian America was more complex. Was this a single coin in a pouch, or evidence of sustained Viking-American interaction? The site showed no signs of European settlement, no ships, swords, or metalworking facilities nearby. Yet the existence of just one object can rewrite entire chapters of our known history. This tiny silver disk, no larger than a thumbnail, carries the weight of continents. It raises a haunting possibility. What else lies buried in American soil, still undiscovered? Is the Maine penny a clue in a greater story long erased by time? Or is it a lonely relic of an encounter that history never properly recorded? With more questions than answers, the Maine penny remains one of America's quietest enigmas. An artifact that whispers of forgotten voyages, sunken stories, and shadows cast across the Atlantic. In the heart of Egypt's sun-scorched granite quarries lies a monument frozen in time. Half carved from solid bedrock, the unfinished obelisk of Aswan is both majestic and mysteriously abandoned. If completed, it would have been the largest obelisk ever erected in human history. Weighing an estimated 1,200 tons, it stands as a silent testament to ancient engineering dreams. Stretching nearly 137 feet in length, it still clings to the earth that bore it. Its base is cut with precision, its sides smoothed with methods we barely comprehend today. Yet something went wrong. A sudden fracture, a crack running through the solid stone. The workers stopped, the tools were laid down, and the monument was never raised. Why this mighty project was abandoned remains one of Egyptology's most haunting unanswered questions. Was it merely a structural failure, or did some deeper omen halt construction forever? Historians believe it was commissioned by Queen Hatshepsut, one of Egypt's most powerful female rulers. She sought to leave her mark on eternity, like pharaohs who defied death with stone. Obelisks were more than decorative. They were sacred symbols of divine connection and cosmic order. They pointed to the heavens, embodying the sun god Ra, channeling his light to earth. Yet the sheer scale of the unfinished obelisk suggests technology we still struggle to explain. How did ancient Egyptians plan to lift, transport, and erect a 1,200-ton monolith? Even with today's modern cranes and steel, such a feat would demand enormous precision and risk. But these ancient engineers had no steel, no powered machines, only copper tools and willpower. Was this obelisk their greatest ambition? Or their final overreach before a lesson from nature? The cracked stone wasn't just a break. It was a catastrophic failure in execution. Still, no attempt was made to salvage or repurpose it, which itself raises more questions. Why leave a massive piece of prized granite in the quarry, exposed to the elements? Perhaps it became sacred in its imperfection, a monument to divine intervention or warning. Or perhaps the laborers simply vanished, swept away by war, plague, or royal transition. Walking beside the unfinished obelisk today is like stepping into a paused chapter of history. Every chisel mark, every polished edge, is a whisper from hands long returned to dust. It reveals not just ambition, but the fragility of human endeavors in the face of nature, that even the most powerful rulers and visionary builders can be humbled by a single crack. The obelisk remains where it was born, a monument not of triumph, but of mystery. And in its silence, it may speak more loudly than any raised monument ever could. Deep in the heart of Samarkand stands a mausoleum shrouded in legend and fear. The tomb of Timur Lang, the fierce conqueror whose empire spanned half of Asia. Timur, known in the West as Tamerlane, was a man both brutal and brilliant. His military genius forged an empire, but his final resting place holds darker mysteries. The Gur-Eomir Mausoleum houses his body beneath an ornate dome of shimmering turquoise tiles. But it is not just a tomb. It is a silent monument to both glory and curse. According to local legend, disturbing Timur's tomb would unleash a deadly curse upon the world. The story is terrifying. Every time the tomb was opened, disaster seemed to follow. When Soviet archaeologists first entered the mausoleum in 1941, they reportedly found his remains intact. Mere days later, Nazi Germany launched its invasion of the Soviet Union, a devastating war. Some say Timur's spirit guards the tomb, punishing those who dare disturb his peace. Others believe the tailies were spread to protect the tomb from looters and grave robbers. The mausoleum itself is a masterpiece of Timurid architecture, intricate patterns carved in stone. Yet the mystery within is not about beauty, but about what lies beneath the marble floor. Timur was buried with immense treasures, precious artifacts, and symbolic relics of his reign. But despite several excavations, no clear inventory or final resting treasures have ever surfaced. Historians debate whether the tomb is a genuine final resting place or a grand decoy? Was the real body hidden away to protect it from enemies or grave desecration? What secrets could the tomb still conceal about Timer's life, empire, and untold ambitions? Could ancient curses, lost relics, or hidden chambers lie buried beneath the mausoleum's surface? This eerie monument stands frozen in time, a guardian of both history and myth. The story of Timer Lang's tomb reminds us how power, fear, and mystery often intertwine. His legacy is carved in stone and legend, an empire forged in blood and shadow, and his tomb remains one of the most enigmatic and haunting sights in Central Asia. It snakes across the mountains like a sleeping dragon, carved from stone and memory. The Great Wall of China, one of mankind's most ambitious architectural achievements, still hides secrets beneath. Stretching over 13,000 miles, it was meant to guard against foreign invaders from the north. But some believe the wall's defenses go deeper, far deeper than we ever imagined. Beneath the ancient bricks, tunnels, and sealed chambers are said to exist, untouched for centuries. Whispers speak of hidden vaults, buried weapons, and even entire forgotten garrisons sealed within the earth. For decades, local villagers have reported strange sounds echoing beneath the wall at night. Others claim ancient doors sealed with stone exist in parts now closed to the public. In certain places, radar scans detected cavities, deep voids concealed below the thick foundations. But Chinese authorities have been reluctant to fully excavate or open these suspected hidden chambers. Some theories suggest these are emergency tunnels, designed to help soldiers vanish and reappear elsewhere. Others go further, hinting at ancient storage chambers for imperial scrolls, treasure, or forbidden knowledge. A few even claim the wall hides older ruins underneath, remnants of a lost civilization. Could it be that the Great Wall was built upon something even more ancient and powerful? Historical texts hint that parts of the wall were constructed over ancient tombs and graves. Bones have been discovered during construction, not just of workers, but perhaps of unknown origin. One of the darkest legends says many laborers were buried alive inside the wall itself. Whether by accident, collapse, or cruel imperial decree, they became part of the structure forever. Ancient beliefs warned that disturbing certain segments of the wall could awaken buried spirits or curses. And in some remote regions, local elders still refuse to walk near the wall at night. In modern times, excavations have been blocked or postponed without public explanation, fueling deeper suspicion. What truths lie beneath may challenge China's history or reveal secrets authorities aren't ready to share. The Great Wall isn't just a wall. It's a scar, a shield, and a grave. And somewhere beneath its winding path, the past may still be breathing, buried in silence. He conquered more of the known world than any man before him ever dared. Alexander the Great, crowned as a god in some lands, died at just 32 years old. The man who carved empires from the ashes of Persia fell not on a battlefield, but in bed. His death was slow, painful, and surrounded by rumors, betrayal, and perhaps the deadliest of secrets. Historical records say he was stricken with a mysterious fever that lasted for nearly 2 weeks. He suffered intense pain, lost his voice, and became paralyzed, but never lost full consciousness. Some chronicles claim his body showed no signs of decomposition for days after his death. A detail so strange, some believed he was still alive when they sealed his tomb. Many historians point to malaria, typhoid, or West Nile virus as likely natural explanations. Yet none fully explain the drawn-out agony and strange preservation of his body afterward. Others whisper of poison, a slow-acting toxin slipped into his wine by trusted generals. Could his closest allies have conspired to kill him before he named a clear successor? The stakes were unimaginably high. His empire stretched from Greece to India, and power was up for grabs. After his death, his generals fought for decades, dividing the empire like wolves over a fresh carcass. One theory points the finger at Antipater, a Macedonian regent who feared being replaced by Alexander. It said his son, Cassander, was the one who carried the poisoned drink to the emperor's lips. Yet no definitive proof has ever surfaced, just layers of rumor, motive, and chilling coincidence. What if Alexander had actually been in a coma, alive, aware, and buried too soon? Ancient embalming methods could have masked shallow breathing, and coma symptoms might have fooled his physicians. His body was reportedly transported to Egypt, but the location of his final tomb remains unknown. For centuries, emperors and explorers have searched for it, from Julius Caesar to Napoleon Bonaparte. All sought to find the lost tomb of the man who conquered death in legend. Some believe it lies beneath modern-day Alexandria, buried under streets, temples, or even the sea. Others claim it was hidden intentionally to prevent his enemies from defiling his sacred remains. His followers once believed he was a son of Zeus, immune to mortal suffering and death. Yet his mysterious end suggests that even gods, when betrayed, may die alone and voiceless. Alexander's death remains one of the greatest riddles in ancient history, a puzzle still unsolved. And until his tomb is found, the truth will stay buried with the man who ruled the world. He was the boy king who ruled Egypt. Tutankhamun, ascending the throne at just 9 years old, died before his 20th birthday, and no one knows why. His reign was short, his accomplishments modest, yet his death echoed louder than any pharaoh before him. What makes his story unforgettable? I assent his life, but the sinister silence surrounding his mysterious end. When British archaeologist Howard Carter opened Tut's sealed tomb in 1922, the world gasped in golden wonder. But what followed next was not glory. It was tragedy, rumors, and an ancient fear reborn. Lord Carnarvon, who funded the expedition, died suddenly, just months after the tomb was opened. Within a year, others involved also died mysteriously, fueling the curse of the pharaoh's myth worldwide. Yet the real mystery isn't about those who found his tomb, but how Tutankhamun died so young. His body was discovered badly charred, his chest crushed, and his skull cracked at the base. For decades, theories clashed. Was it an accident, a genetic illness, or a carefully orchestrated murder? Early scans suggested a violent blow to the head, raising suspicion of assassination in the royal court. Later CT scans in the early 2000s revealed a shattered leg, possibly infected before death. Could a simple broken limb have killed a king? Or was it the convenient cover-up of treason? Some experts believe his body was burned during rushed embalming, hinting at panic or a political crisis. Was his burial so hurried because he was murdered, and his killers feared exposure or divine punishment? Tutankhamun's lineage was cursed by inbreeding. His parents were siblings. His body showed numerous deformities. He suffered from a cleft palate, curved spine, and fragile bones, possibly unable to walk unaided. But even if illness plagued him, it doesn't explain the crushed ribcage and missing heart. In Egyptian burial rituals, the heart was essential for judgment in the afterlife. Why was it gone? Could it have been deliberately removed by his enemies to curse his eternal soul? Or was it lost during a failed embalming process, one cloaked in haste and fear? Political motives abounded. Tut was the last direct heir of Akhenaten, the heretic pharaoh. With his death, Egypt's priests restored the old gods and erased Tut's bloodline from the annals of power. Some whisper the mastermind was Ai, his advisor, who married his widow and seized the throne. Others blame Horemheb, the general who would become pharaoh, a man with ambition and access. To this day, the young king's cause of death remains uncertain, entombed beneath layers of lies and silence. And though his tomb was filled with treasures, it is the riddle of his death that holds the true gold. He conquered more land than Alexander the Great, Napoleon, or even the Roman Empire. His armies reshaped entire continents, burning cities, and forging one of history's largest empires. But when Genghis Khan died in 1227, the world's most powerful man simply vanished. No mausoleum, no golden sarcophagus, no sacred temple holds his bones. Only silence remains. His burial site is the greatest unsolved mystery in the history of royal tombs. According to legend, his funeral procession slaughtered every witness along the road to secrecy. Then the soldiers escorting his body were themselves executed, to erase the path forever. Some say 1,000 horses were ridden over the grave to flatten and disguise it. Others whisper that a river was diverted to flood the land and bury him deeper. Mongolian tradition forbids the excavation of his tomb, believing it sacred and untouchable. That spiritual barrier has turned the steppe into a riddle, resisting every modern attempt to solve it. For centuries, explorers, archaeologists, and treasure hunters have searched in vain, only to be repelled. Some believe he lies buried beneath the sacred Burkhan Khaldan mountain in northeastern Mongolia. But no radar scan or satellite sweep has revealed even a hint of his remains. In 2000, a joint Mongolian-Japanese team claimed they were close to finding the site. But the project was suddenly halted by nationalists, who feared desecrating the ancestral soul. Still, conspiracy theories and ancient texts suggest clues may be hiding in plain sight. A 14th-century Persian historian claimed the tomb was sealed with molten bronze and guarded eternally. Chinese records hint at secret imperial maps describing its coordinates, maps lost in dynastic collapse. Others say Genghis Khan's tomb was never meant to be found by mortal men, that it was hidden not just physically, but spiritually, through ritual and myth. What treasures lie with him? Weapons soaked in conquest, scrolls of forbidden knowledge, or worse? Perhaps even relics from empires he destroyed, or records of histories we never inherited. More than a grave, it may be a vault of erased civilizations and royal secrets. One that could change our understanding of Mongol history and humanity's story forever. But perhaps the true power of Genghis Khan was not in his conquests alone. It was in ensuring that his end would become as legendary as his life. His disappearance isn't a coincidence. It was a masterstroke of posthumous power and control. The world still speaks his name, yet no one dares disturb his eternal sleep. And so the steppe remains quiet, vast, and watchful, as if guarding something sacred. Somewhere beneath Mongolia's wild soil, the Khan still waits, hidden, undefeated, and unburied by time. He was the man who shattered an empire that once called itself eternal, and forged a new one from its ruins. Sultan Mehmed II, known as Mehmed the Conqueror, carved his name into history by capturing Constantinople in 1453. At just 21 years old, he did what centuries of armies had failed to do. He ended the Byzantine Empire. But his death, decades later, remains as enigmatic and controversial as the walls he broke down. In May of 1481, Mehmed suddenly fell ill while preparing a new and secret military campaign. His destination was known only to his most trusted commanders. Even his own sons were kept in the dark. Some believe he was marching toward Italy, intent on invading Rome and declaring himself Caesar of the East and West. Others whisper he was heading to crush the Mamluks in Egypt, reclaiming all Muslim lands under one Ottoman crescent. But Mehmed never reached his unknown destination. He died suddenly, his body racked by illness and exhaustion. His official diagnosis: gout or intestinal distress, but many contemporaries didn't believe the story. His death came with stunning convenience to many powerful men who stood to lose if his campaign succeeded. His Grand Vizier, Karamanli Mehmed Pasha, was said to have clashed with him politically and personally. Some Ottoman records suggest Mehmed was poisoned, possibly by his own physician, under secret orders. The medic, a Jewish doctor named Yaqub Pasha, disappeared from history not long after the Sultan's death. Whispers in the palace corridors spoke of venom hidden in syrup, administered daily to weaken the mighty Sultan. No witnesses remained, no confession was made, only the rapid decline of the greatest ruler of the era. Suspicion even reached his son, Bayezid, who had the most to gain from his father's sudden departure. With Mehmed gone, Bayezid secured the throne and abandoned the secret campaign, a coincidence or a power grab. Adding to the mystery, Mehmed's burial was unusually delayed, and many details were concealed from the public. Could it be that his death was a carefully orchestrated palace coup, buried beneath layers of ceremony and tradition? Historians remain divided. Some call it natural, others see the signature of political assassination at the highest level. After all, Mehmed wasn't just a conqueror, he was a visionary, planning a unified Islamic Christian empire under Ottoman law. Such ambitions terrified both Europe and elements within his own empire, who feared the collapse of the balance of power. For a man who broke the walls of Constantinople, was poison the only wall he couldn't break through? To this day, his cause of death remains a riddle, rarely taught, rarely explored, but forever suspected. And as long as his legacy endures, so too does the haunting question: who truly killed the conqueror of empires? Beneath the quiet plains of Cappadocia, in central Turkey, lies a world forgotten by time. A city buried under volcanic rock, so vast it defies all logic and explanation. This is Derinkuyu, an ancient underground metropolis that descends more than 280 feet into the earth. With over 18 levels, it could house 20,000 people, livestock, kitchens, schools, and all. There were ventilation shafts, water wells, and even massive stone doors to seal each level. It wasn't just a hiding place, it was a fully functioning, secret underground civilization. Who built it? Why did they hide their lives beneath solid stone? The answers are buried in mystery, just like the city itself. Archaeologists believe it was first carved by the Phrygians over 3,000 years ago. But others claim it dates even further back, to prehistoric times, before recorded history. Some believe it was used by early Christians fleeing Roman persecution, hiding from death above. But the complexity of the structure suggests planning far beyond temporary refuge. The tunnels are so narrow and winding, they were designed to confuse invaders and funnel them into traps. Massive circular doors could be rolled shut from the inside. No one could break through without force. Every inch was engineered for survival, secrecy, and control by people who understood the fear of annihilation. Was it built after war? Or in anticipation of something even worse? One theory suggests Derinkuyu was a nuclear bunker of the ancient world, made for cataclysmic events. Others say it was a shelter from sky gods or celestial disasters, long before modern records began. The city connects to dozens of other underground complexes, via miles of hidden tunnels. It's as if an entire culture existed below the surface, never meant to be seen again. Strangely, no written records describe its creation. Only myths, whispers, and oral tradition survive. Was its secrecy intentional, protected by time and legend? Or were its builders simply erased? Despite its discovery in 1963, only a portion has been fully explored and even less understood. The deeper researchers go, the more impossible the architecture becomes. Narrow passages, vast halls, intricate defense systems. The question lingers: were they hiding from something on the surface, or from something above? And if such cities existed beneath our feet for centuries, how many others remain undiscovered? Derinkuyu may be a marvel of ancient engineering, but its silence is deafening. It asks us one question we still can't answer. What drove humanity underground? And what were they running from? Hidden beneath the burning sands of Oman's Rub al-Khali lies a name spoken in ancient whispers, Uber, a city of unimaginable wealth and sin, once called Atlantis of the Sands by explorers and prophets alike. According to legend, Uber was the capital of a great desert kingdom, ruled by a people who defied the divine. Its streets were paved with power, its towers gleamed in the sunlight, a mirage made real. The Quran refers to it as Iram of the Pillars, whose people were punished for arrogance and corruption. They built monuments higher than mountains, but forgot the humility required to remain grounded in fate. It was said to have vanished overnight, swallowed by the wrath of heaven or by the shifting desert itself. Like Sodom and Gomorrah, its fall was swift, sudden, and absolute, leaving no trace behind. For centuries, Bedouin nomads spoke of a cursed city, buried by the dunes, guarded by jinn, and protected by silence. Scholars dismissed it as myth, a mirage invented to explain ancient ruins and desert hallucinations. That changed in 1992, when NASA satellite images revealed ancient camel routes converging in the Omani Desert. Beneath that intersection, archaeologists uncovered collapsed structures and a massive limestone sinkhole, a gateway to the past. The site, now known as Shisir, revealed walls, artifacts, and foundations consistent with a once thriving trade hub. Frankincense caravans likely moved through it, confirming that it was a center of commerce and power. But could this really be Uber, the lost city cursed by heaven and erased from memory? Or was it just a fortress, one of many scattered across Arabia's ancient trade routes? The evidence is compelling, but the answers remain buried, not just in sand, but in layers of myth and fear. What force caused the fortress to collapse into itself? Earthquake, overmining, or something more divine? Some researchers say the city wasn't destroyed. It was sealed, perhaps by its own people, to hide forbidden knowledge. Others suggest the legends are warnings, that Uber was punished for dealings with dark spiritual forces. Strange carvings, mysterious artifacts, and oral histories hint at a city that dabbled with power beyond its grasp. Whether those forces were natural, technological, or supernatural, no one dares speak too loudly of them today. The discovery of Shisir raised more questions than it answered. Every answer simply deepened the mystery. And with each sandstorm, more ruins may appear or be swallowed again without warning. Uber, whether real or symbolic, still haunts the Arabian desert, a ghost city beneath endless dunes. A city that reminds us, even greatness carved in stone can vanish without a sound or trace. And if Uber truly was Atlantis of the sands, what other forgotten empires lie buried, waiting to be uncovered? On a quiet August night in 1977, the universe may have whispered to Earth. From the deep void of space, a signal arrived, clear, powerful, and unexplained. At Ohio State University's Big Ear Radio Telescope, astronomer Jerry Emin monitored the skies for extraterrestrial patterns. What he saw next made history, a 72-second-long burst, narrowband and eerily precise. He circled the sequence of characters on the printout and scribbled just one word beside it. Wow! That single exclamation gave the signal its name and launched one of science's greatest modern mysteries. The wow signal came from the constellation Sagittarius near the Chi Sagittarii star group. It matched no known celestial event, satellite, or Earth-originating interference. It was a ghost in the spectrum. Its frequency was near 1,420 megahertz, a spot scientists call the hydrogen line, protected by international law for deep space studies. Hydrogen, the most abundant element in the universe, seemed like the perfect universal calling card. The signal had the shape of an intentional transmission, not noise, not a burst, but a beacon. And yet, in over 4 decades, it has never repeated. Not once. It came and vanished like a dream. Was it a deliberate message from intelligent life? A greeting? A cosmic ping awaiting our reply? Or was it a cosmic accident, a one-time anomaly born of nature or machinery? Emin and his team tried for years to track it again, scanning the same coordinates repeatedly. But the skies were silent. The sender, if there was one, had disappeared without a trace. Theories emerged, from a passing comet to secret military transmissions, to signals bouncing from Earth. But none fully explained the signal's clean structure, strength, and exact placement in the spectrum. Some scientists believed the signal was too perfect, that it matched patterns consistent with intentional communication. Others argue it may have been a natural radio wave, a one-in-a-billion coincidence lost in the void. Still, to this day, the wow signal remains the best candidate for extraterrestrial contact ever recorded. Not proof, but a clue, and a question that science still cannot answer. Was it a message left behind by a civilization long gone? A last whisper from deep time? Or a test, an invitation to explore beyond the limits of our understanding? It reminds us that we are listening to the stars, waiting, wondering if anyone is listening back. And in 72 seconds of static and silence, the universe asked us the oldest question of all. Are we alone, or is someone somewhere trying to say hello? Imagine defying death once, and fate lets you walk away unharmed. Now imagine defying death 7 times, all from the sky above. This is the true story of Roy Cleveland Sullivan, a park ranger in Virginia, a man known around the world as the Hugh and Lightning Rod. Between 1942 and 1977, Roy was struck by lightning 7 separate times and survived them all. Each strike was verified, documented, and witnessed by people who swore by the impossible. His first lightning strike burned his leg and damaged his big toe permanently. That would have ended most stories, but for Roy, it was just the beginning. The second time, lightning knocked him unconscious and set his eyebrows on fire. The third sent him flying across his yard. His hair turned to ash. The fourth, fifth, and sixth strikes occurred while he was on the job in Shenandoah National Park. They set his hair aflame, burned his stomach, and even injured his shoulder again. The seventh and final lightning strike occurred in 1977 while he was fishing by a lake. It hit the top of his head and traveled down his chest and stomach. After the final strike, Roy said he felt cursed, followed by something unseen. Even his hat and uniform were kept in a museum, charred by heavenly fire. Scientists couldn't explain it. They called it the most improbable lightning survival streak ever recorded. The odds of such an event are beyond astronomical, over 1 in 10 octillion. Some locals whispered he had angered something ancient, a spirit, a force, or the sky itself. Others believed Roy was marked, chosen by nature as a symbol or warning. He claimed to always sense the strike before it came, a strange sensation in his hair, almost like his body remembered what the lightning felt like and braced before impact. His personal life suffered too. His wife was even struck once beside him while doing laundry. Friends began to avoid him during storms, fearing they might become collateral damage. Then, in 1983, Roy Sullivan died not from lightning, but by his own hand. Some believe it was heartbreak. Others say it was the weight of destiny finally crushing him. But the mystery endures. Was Roy just incredibly unlucky, or was he chosen by fate? And if so, what force reaches from the clouds to touch one man so many times? To this day, no one else in recorded history has matched this eerie streak of survival. His charred ranger hat remains behind, a black crown worn by a man struck by the heavens. And when lightning flashes across the Virginian sky, some still say, Roy is watching. We've walked among ruins that whisper, decoded maps drawn before the world was known. We've touched forbidden texts, stood beneath silent pyramids, and followed signals into the stars. Through storms of lightning, tombs of kings, and cities swallowed by sea and sand, one truth echoes louder than all the legends combined. We don't know everything. For every question answered by science or time, 1,000 more emerge from the shadows. History isn't just written in books. It's carved in stone, buried in silence, and encoded in myth. Maybe these mysteries were never meant to be solved, only remembered, felt, and feared. Maybe they are messages left behind, puzzles not for the mind, but for the soul. So we ask you, traveler of time and seeker of truth, which of these enigmas will haunt your thoughts long after the screen fades to black? Which secrets will keep you awake, staring into the night, wondering what still lies out there? Because in the end, the deeper we dig into the past, the more it stares back at us. And as long as mysteries remain unsolved, the story isn't over. Not for them. Not for us. We've wandered through time, through stone and fire, ink and shadow, following echoes of forgotten empires, unsolved riddles, and the haunted silence of the unknown. For every answer carved in ancient walls, 1,000 questions rise like dust in the wind. And perhaps that's the point. Not to know everything, but to wonder, to search, and to never stop asking. Because mystery is the soul of history, and truth often hides behind a veil, waiting for the right eyes to see. If these journeys moved you, challenged what you thought was certain, or simply lit a spark inside you, then stay with us. Subscribe so you don't miss the next door we open. Like this video if you believe some mysteries are meant to be remembered, and share it so others may walk this strange and powerful path with us. Until next time, stay curious, stay questioning, because the mystery is far from over.